When we approach Christianity, we can sometimes go down the path that if we follow Jesus, he'll give everything we ever wanted to us. That following Jesus will make us rich and healthy, that following Jesus will make us blessed. And I'm not saying that God doesn't bless his followers, but what I am saying is that sometimes we might get the wrong idea of what being blessed is, or how to be blessed. Jesus started his Sermon on the Mount with what we call the beatitudes, and in Matthew 5 he starts the chapter with, "Now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountainside and sat down, and his disciples came to him and he began to teach them." And in verse 3 we get this amazing list of beatitudes that Jesus values of those who are blessed. And he says in verse 3, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." The Beatitudes are amazing. And in this passage, the key word here is blessed. The word blessed refers to those who are and or will be happy, fortunate, or as those who are to be congratulated because of God's response to their behavior or situation. However, the circumstances of someone who is blessed doesn't really match to what we might think of when we think of blessed. The upshot of the Beatitudes is a complete reverse of the attitude popularly known in our culture. The blessed people that Jesus refers to are those who the world normally forgets. What the world values does not necessarily make the list of what is blessed in Jesus' eyes. And who does make the list are those who are poor in spirit, those who acknowledge one's spiritual powerlessness and bankruptcy apart from God, those who mourn because of the grief caused by both personal sin and loss of social evil and oppression, those who are meek, one who is humble, gentle, and not aggressive, those who hunger for thirst in righteousness, a desire to see God's standards established and obeyed in every area of life, those who are merciful, those who embrace the characteristics of being generous, forgiving others, having compassion for the suffering, and providing healing of every kind, those who have purity in heart, which refers to moral uprightness and not just ritual cleanliness, those who are peacemakers, those who work for shalom, which means wholeness and harmony rather than strife and discord in all aspects of life, and who reconciles others to God. I really like what David Martin Lloyd-Jones says about the Beatitudes, and really kind of this cultural disconnect of what Jesus is communicating and what the world says. And he says, the glory of the gospel is that when the church is absolutely different from the world, she invariably attracts it. He also says, happiness is a great question confronting mankind. The whole world is longing for happiness, and it's tragic to observe the ways in which people are seeking it. The vast majority, alas, are doing so in ways that is bound to produce misery. Anything which, by evading the difficulties, merely making people happy for a time being, is ultimately going to add to the misery and problems. That is where the utter deceitfulness of sin comes in. It always offering happiness, and it always leads to unhappiness and final misery and wretchedness. The Sermon on the Mount says, however, that if you really want to be happy, here is the way. This and this alone is the type of person who truly is happy, who is really blessed. This is the sort of person who is to be congratulated. Today we get a picture of what God values in his followers. It was a lifestyle that Jesus himself lived, and we get an opportunity to follow in Jesus' footsteps in this, to be blessed. and I hope that you have a blessed Friday and week.